The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the complete. That is crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck. The lights are off and away they go.
Last week, we saw the best of the best come out to play, but now it's time to refocus on the championship as drivers return to Daytona under the lights. Momentum is on the side of the championship leader Buchalia, but can he keep it that way with everyone gunning for him? We'll find out tonight as we get ready to watch Round 7 of the iSuperSpeedway Series live on the Global Sim Racing channel. I'm Joe Peak, standing in for recovering Richard Losper. We wish him the quickest of recoveries. With me tonight are Evan Pisoko and Sean Ambrose. Our cameras have been provided by Dougie Beard and are directed by Giancarlo Lenzi. For our usual track stats and facts, let's head to Evan.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, we're getting set, guys, here. We're in the second half now of the championship season. We're back under the lights here in Daytona. Obviously, the world center of speed located Daytona Beach, Florida. A capacity crowd of 147,000 race fans can pack into this speedway, which opened back in 1959. We're going to be racing on the infamous 2.5-mile super speedway at asphalt surface, 4 turns with 31 degrees of banking, 18 in the tri-oval, and 2 degrees down to back straightaway. We're going to be going for 40 laps tonight and 100 miles.
And don't forget, with us well into the championship, there is the points to worry about. And Sean, what is that looking like?
Well, first, Joe, it's awesome to be at Daytona tonight on a Friday night here. It's a beautiful evening. Yeah, the championship. Well, you know, Frank Buchalia is sitting up there in first place with 235 points right now. He's got 2 wins this season, including his All-Star race, which was a non-point event last week. But he's 15 points up on Rod Flagg, the league organizer, who's sitting there with 220 points. And Brandon Chabrico, who we've seen had some tough luck, but always fast and always near the front, sitting 18 points behind with 217 points. Donnie Garitano and the number 2 Wrangler machine, back 19 points with 216 total. And Rodney Wofford there sitting in 5th place with 202 points, 33 points down. But guys, this championship is still anybody's to win. These guys, you know, 4th through 1st is really tight. And anything could change tonight. We could see a different leader before this race is over if, you know, Frank has a little bit of bad luck and one of these guys comes to the front.
Yeah, like as you said, I mean, 20 points between those top 4 guys and only 4 points between second to 4th position. So that is incredibly tight. It could change at the drop of a hat, especially with this super speedway racing. Now, we understand that they have clamped down. The stewards have gotten a little bit stricter around here to try to get the racing in order. What's some of the things that these guys are going to have to worry about rules-wise, Evan?
And if everybody tuned in there, when we had the All-Star race at Talladega, and I know Sean was in the booth with me there, we saw a lot of contact, and these cars acted really strange when the bumpers met, and even the light contact were sending these cars around. So they have brought back the no bump drafting in the corners or the tri-oval. You can't be on the back bumper and pushing that car in front of you through the corners or in the tri-oval. Also, if you're leading a line, you're at the front of a line, you cannot be letting off the gas. You must be full on and going 100%. Also, the leader is required to start the race on the drop of the green flag, no sooner, no later. And also, you can't be jumping the restarts back in the pack. So these guys just tightening things up a little bit, polishing it up, making sure we can get some good racing. And also the guys have also been working on, and they have made some modifications to the setup that the drivers are running from the last race at Talladega.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to some green flag racing out here. Hopefully we'll get a nice, clean 40 laps out there, get some excitement up at the front. So, as we watch them continue to put some warm-up laps in, another thing to worry about is, of course, the I-5 bonus. Now, what do we mean when we talk about that, Sean? I know that we got a few guys, like we can see the number 2 with some orange rims out there.
Yeah, and the guys with the orange rims and the orange numbers are the guys that are eligible for the I-5 bonus, which tonight is at $5 because it reset this week because we had a winner, a couple of winners in the last race, so there's no carryover this week, so we're starting fresh with the $5 bonus. Our championship leader right now, Frank Pucciala, he is in the lead of the points and also eligible for the I-5 bonus. Ronald Thompson is eligible tonight. Greg Hooks, Donnie Giratano, and Tommy Hall are all eligible for those 5 bonus points tonight should they win the race.
And I'm sure every one of them is going to be gunning for that, even though $5 doesn't seem like a lot in this series. It is a bit tricky to come by wins. We've only got one repeat winner this season in Frank Pucciala, so everybody is going to be eager and have their hands out to try and grab that. So, still waiting. Let's see, we got a couple more minutes for our warm-up, then we can get to the qualifying order, and they'll have their warm-up lap, and we will be away on racing. But one last thing is we've got a few new members out here. We got some guys coming in, including, I think there was one that you might have recognized, Evan.
Yeah, we get a couple of guys coming in here, some names that we haven't quite seen, and take a look. You got guys like Tom Moustakis, Austin Carver, to name a few of them, Mark Brown, and a couple more names throughout the field, Kent Connolly, just some of the names here that we have not seen in races past year with the iSuperSpeedway Cup guys. And basically, Revved Up Racing League had a very similar series going on Friday night super speedways only, so the iSuperSpeedway guys invited on over, kind of combined. So Revved Up Racing League has their members in here, and what that is attributed, Joe, is we have a really large field for tonight's race.
Absolutely. I haven't seen a lot of guys putting in warm-up laps, but I'm just looking at the entries, and you're right. It's compared to what I've seen in previous races, there is certainly a stacked field out there, which should make it all the more exciting for us to see that many cars roaring around this place. And as the time continues to tick down, we are just a few seconds away from getting our grid, and we will be able to get that to you with that nice blimp view that we've got on screen with the lights on here at night at Daytona down in Florida. So should be some very good racing out here. Now the time has finally come up, so I think actually we've got a few more seconds as now we've got it. All right. So let's go through our qualifying order here as they line up on the grid. On the pole, we have Dana Osborne, followed by Rodney Wofford filling out the front row. Chris Jennings is on the inside of row 2 with Josh Hanner starting in 4th. Then it's Tony Fain in 5th with Donnie Giartano in 6th. After that, it's Rod Flagg starting in 7th, Brandon Chibirko in 8th, Ramon Evans in 9th, and Tom Moustakis in 10th, Sean.
Yeah, and starting in 11th, Ray Rittenauer in that number 87. Outside there be Don Artman in the 99. Our championship leader, number 94, Frank Pucciala in 13th. Dan Harrington in 14th. Larry Camp sitting there in 15th in the number 33. Greg Hooks in the number 98 will start 16th. Jimmy Todd in the number 18 will start 17th. Mark Jorgensen Jr. in the number 81 starting 18th. Kent Connolly in the 008 car, number 19, starting in 19th. Austin Carver, newcomer to the series, starting in 20th. Mark Brown in 21st. In 22nd, number 54, Dennis Wright, another newcomer. And in 23rd, Brandon Cattell making his return to the series, a winner in this season. And number 20 in 24th, number 08 of Cody Dutton. And rounding out the field, 25th spot, number 28 of Shane McEachin, who I believe finished second in the last race.
So more than 24 drivers out there that we expect to take the green flag today as they take off on the pace lap, heading around NASCAR 1 and 2. Now, I'm looking at the weather, Evan, and even though it is at night, it seems fairly warm, 84 degrees out there, and it seems somewhat muggy at 75% humidity. Is that going to cause problems with the engines? I know that they have the no bump rule, but obviously guys will want to keep it cool and peek out for air at some point.
Yeah, you can't stay pushing, and obviously that no bump rule is going to cause trouble for guys on the outside, because if you're on the bottom, that's almost the lane that you ride in. You want to keep a little bit of gap, you want to get some air to that nose. Now, these things are a fixed set, so it's a fixed set of tape that they have in the front of the car, so all these cars are going to be even. You crank up the temperature a little bit, it's going to play a little bit of a factor in that, but again, without pushing on the outside, which is really what we've seen the strategy be to complete a pass, is 2 cars push up high. That could cause some trouble for some guys trying to make some moves. So you're really going to have to work the pack a lot more, and I think it's going to force these guys to maybe stay even more grouped together, because they're not going to be able to be pushing all the time.
So certainly going to be interesting to see how that plays out with guys adjusting to that, as well as adjusting to the new and lesser familiar drivers to some of these guys, and get themselves used to everybody's habits and whatnot. Pace car is heading towards pit entry. We should be getting green flag any moment now, and remember, they have to go on the green. So as soon as that flag flies, we go racing. There goes the pace car. Waiting for the call now. There goes the green flag, and they are off at Daytona under the lights with Dana Osborne leading the way, Sean.
Yeah, Dana's off to a pretty good start here, kind of following back to the field. Everybody's off to a good start, staying in line. No trouble yet as they head here to the first turn. Looks like a pretty good race here going on. Nobody's getting on the line. Everybody's staying with each other, and all the cars are facing in the same direction right now, which is a great start.
Was a good sign. See a few guys kind of peeking out already, but everyone seems very patient. No one's really making any risky moves early on, although they are stringing out a little bit in the back. You can see as they head down the backstretch. Now coming into NASCAR 3 on this first lap, it is still Dana Osborne up at the front, and that number 7 is dropping back just a little bit around the outside.
Rodney Watford doesn't have the advantage of the 5 of Josh Hanner on that back bumper, so through 3 and 4, the 7 machine dropped back a little bit. Dana Osborne up front had some help. The 088 of Chris Jennings wasn't pushing, but he was right up tucked underneath the 8 machine of Dana Osborne. They were able to get clear. Now the 7 makes a little bit of a move to the outside down that front, and as we go through 1 and 2 once again, those top 2 on the inside line get a pull clear.
Shane McEachin and Dennis Wright back here at the back of the field. They laid back a little bit. Looks like they're working together and staying in line and just kind of let the game come to them at this point, it looks like.
Yeah, you can never know what exactly is going to unfold in front of you, so maybe they're just playing it easy, seeing what everybody gets into up in front of them in case anything unfolds. But right now, like you said, kind of pulling it up in a tandem for those two back in the very back of the pack. But up front, as we watch the leaders continue around, now on to lap 3. Still Dana Osborne up in the lead with Chris Jennings pushing behind. And that number 7 is still holding, is just back in third. Can't seem to make much progress at this point. Meanwhile, looking back, I see the purple number 10 is trying to possibly split the pack, but no, he slots back into line. So no 3 wide at this point. Still 2 wide all down the way.
Tom Mustaka steps out of line just for a moment down into 3. Now he tucks back in behind the 94 of Frank Busile. I'll tell you guys, Frank Busile's got a little bit of comfortable lead here in the points. Now you can't really say comfortable in super speedway racing, but it's the biggest that we've seen it all season long. First car to the outside, the 3 of Brandon Chaburko. Now he dives back in line again. We are still 2 wide pretty much throughout this entire field. Top 18 within 1 second of each other, so still very tightly packed.
This is a very calm field, Evan. We've seen a few guys peek out here and there, but everyone's kind of making very deliberate moves. There's no one really being too hasty, it seems.
Yes, and that has to attribute, obviously, to the no-push rule there in the corners. You see the 3 machine steps out of line, and that is Brandon Chaburko. Chaburko is not afraid to make moves. Only problem there is the 94 is going to go to the middle. They actually door bang in 3 and 4. Everybody able to hang on to it, but that easily could have sent that 3-car around. So that's really the first action or close call that we've seen here tonight. But they are very disciplined right now. They're riding, and actually we've gotten nose-to-nose up front. Dana Osborne still with the advantage at the line on the inside line, but this is really pack racing when these guys aren't allowed to push in the corner, which forces these guys to kind of stay calm and really work that draft. You can't get out there and just push and try to make things happen. They really have to, be more patient, think about it, instead of just going balls to the walls there and start pushing, try to make aggressive moves. So these guys are forced to be a little bit more disciplined. We're starting to see a little bit of action around that 7th spot. I know that Ted Mustakas has been looking to the outside a few times, but so far, really good racing.
Yeah, and up front, Walford has finally gotten himself a couple runs. He was peeking up into the lead, just wasn't there at the line. So he's finally got a partner there pushing him, and Josh Hanner. That number 3, Chabirko, he did manage to slot back in the line you saw on screen, but he dropped a few spots in the process, and we've got another car farther back in the pack, peeking up 3 wide. In fact, a couple of them.
Yeah, there we are at the top of the turn there, the 81 in the middle there. It looks like, we're going to try and make it too wide. Oh, it's really close, guys.
Oh, the number 80 of Brandon Cattell has been trying. I saw Chabirko go up high once again, but then he went back down. Still, Cattell is on the outside of a 3-wide situation here, seeing if he can make something happen. Looks like we had another car peeking up once again. In fact, it is Chabirko and Mustakas. It looks like they got a push going on that very far outside line.
And they're going to have to try to utilize a lot of ground. They get to travel the 10 to the inside, contact into the 2, and everybody somehow hangs on, guys.
Wow.
Incredible. Kudos to everybody for keeping their head together in that. I thought for sure we were going to see the big one unfold in the tri-oval. And we're not out of the woods yet, though, because look at Hanner up high, still 3 wide with Mustaka. Now up into the top pack here. He is making a run.
Yeah, Shane McEachin making a run up top, too. You know, we talked about him a few minutes ago. He was back down there at the back of the pack, and he's moving his way up, making the outside line work for him right now as he tries to gain ground on these guys.
Now, I was watching one of the heat races before. Mustaka was up towards the front for much of it in his heat race, so this is a guy who's obviously comfortable being up towards the lead, and he is working very hard. In fact, he's trying to go 3 wide for the lead here.
Yeah, aggressive down into 1 and 2. That's going to leave the 7 machine in the middle. And Rodney Wofford with no help. Does somebody go for him? The 3 thinks about it. Does he stick the nose in? Not quite. Now he does. Mustakas is going to be left out all by himself as the 5 of Josh Hanner rides the middle down the back.
And we ride on board with Mark Jorgensen Jr., the number 81, as we watch that 3-wide situation unfold in front of us. And now we can see the number 10 slot behind us as he loses his momentum. And there's the entire pack there, which, again, looks pretty calm. There's not really a whole lot of dicing, but as I say that, the number 99 tries to move lanes there. But mostly everybody things unfolded for a second, but everybody's doing pretty good at this moment, even with some dicey situations.
Car. Josh Hanner, contact from the 81. They hang on once again in 1 and 2 as the 81 tried to shoot the gap. They were bouncing off each other, guys, and somehow, some way, they keep them all pointed forward, and now caution trouble in the back.
Let's see if we can figure out. Kent Connolly, you said?
Yeah, it looks like he had some help there. The 82 of Dan Harrington and that the 008 machine, Kent Connolly there, Joe. Looked like contact down the back straightaway. The 008 now of Connolly actually just now coming over the radio. He claims responsibility for the incident, didn't see the 82, and looked like he tried to merge high there as there was a bit of a checkup at a 2 from the 3 wide. And those 2 cars ended up in the fence. The 008 went around, and that incident looks like it's going to be restricted to only those 2 guys.
Yes, thankfully not a whole lot of damage on everybody else. We were still on the 81 for a bit of that. We could see some damage on his car as well, actually. So not everybody is scot clean out there at this point as we continue to watch the replay of that accident down the backstretch. Number 8, I think, got the biggest brunt of that, although there was certainly a good thwack on, I believe it was the number 32 that he had contact there with, or was that the 82? I think that was the 82 of Dan Harrington, actually.
Well, guys, we've made it 10 laps. 4th of the race is already down. So at this point, what do the leaders do? Are they going to go in pit now and go ahead and get their fuel now and good to go to green? If they do, be interested to see what happens here as they come around.
Well, I see Dana Osborne is actually down on the apron, so for all intents and purposes, seems like he is intending to head in the pits, although that could be a fake out. We've got a number of guys already down on that apron, a number join him, including Chabirko. Meanwhile, Wofford still hanging up behind the pace car, so not sure if he's just waiting for the last second there. We'll find out in a moment. A number of these leaders are looking like they have the intent to go in, but could be a fake out. It looks like, oh, yeah. Dana Osborne pulls out at the last moment. However, number 10, Mustakas, does head in, and it looks like he might be the only one, Evan. Nope, I take that back. There's one more. A few more. Mark Jorgensen Jr., Josh Hanner, Raymond Evans, Cody Dutton. In fact, a whole bunch. So I was completely wrong on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
but-
Jorgensen had a little bit of damage on the right side, so I think, yeah, he did, and he just got that fixed. Got one of those fast repairs right there that we get in this series. They get 2 of them, and he just got 1.
And 2 tires looks like the primary call for a lot of the drivers, including that 81.
Now, with some of the new tire wear that they've got on this tire model, Evan, how does that play into these guys' decision to try and get tires? Does it pay to wait towards the end to have better pace, or does it not matter much on super speedway racing?
The draft, they call it the great equalizer, and again, you almost have to take, so obviously this is the start of the second half of the season. Now that they have the no push rule in effect, it really changes it a lot more. We saw that they were kind of restricted to more pack racing. You want tires if you're going to be out there on that outside lane, laying full into the guy in front of you. Tires really not that important. I think you're going to see the guys take the 2 right side tires rather, just because that's going to be about the amount of time they need to get it full of fuel. So I don't really expect any reason for these guys to come down and get 4 tires. Maybe somebody at the back of the pack, if they're really not going to lose any track position from it, can do it to see if it will really give them any benefit. But I can pretty much expect 2 tires and obviously fuel throughout those guys' second, or rather that back half of the field. Don't really see any 4 tire stops.
And as we saw, a number of guys have got theirs up and out of the way, so they could come into play down the line. We'll see if we get another caution or what exactly is going to happen with that. So currently top 5, actually I shouldn't call that quite yet, because we're going to get some guys to come across the line after the pit stop, so we'll get the data updating here. But I do see Rodney Wofford, is in the lead, followed by Dana Osborne. Brandon Chabirko is still in 3rd. Chris Jennings follows in 4th with, I see Tony Fain in 5th currently. Nope, I'm sorry, he was actually out of line. That's Greg Hooks, who seems to be in 5th.
Well, the lights are out on the pace car, so we got one last time around here, and then we're back under green flag racing. Hey guys, we got a great start. I have no reason to believe we can't continue this race under green flag conditions. It looks like maybe there's been some lessons learned here, and these new guys so far have played nice, and I think we've got a good race ahead of us here, guys.
Yeah, I have to admit, I am severely impressed with the way everybody's been driving at the start of this race. There's been some really slick moves and some really good recoveries that we've seen throughout. And honestly, the only caution here that we've got was due to something that could happen even to the best of them if you just have a moment where you're focusing on the wrong thing and kind of slide up a little bit. So these guys, and they also did a very good job to contain that to only 2 cars, especially since that was in the middle of a few guys. It was towards the back of the pack, but it still could have gone way worse than it did. Knock on whatever wood you can find. Coming into NASCAR 3, we are going to pick up on lap 13, completing lap 12 at the moment. And then, Evan, we're going to get back to green flag racing once again.
I'll tell you one guy you got to look out for, the number 28 Toyota of Shane McEachin. He's sitting on the outside number 5 row right now, position 10. Started way back in 25th, and no, he did not gain all those spots by staying out. So he was able to make moves under the green flag conditions. Yes, he did gain a couple of them. Obviously, some guys came down for service, but Shane McEachin's been doing solid, and also Frank Busilia is going to be restarting 7th. He started outside the top 10.
Yeah, currently, as you said, sitting in 7th, and since he is our championship defender, he is going to want to keep out of trouble in there. Pace car peels off, waiting for the green flag to fly. There it goes. We are racing once again as Wofford leads the way in the number 7, pushed along by Brandon Chabirko.
Chaburko gives him some help there down on the bottom. Now the 8 of Dana Osborne has company. Chris Jennings going to get to the back bumper now as they head through 1 and 2. Still single file throughout the field.
Trouble at the back. We got a car on the wall. I'm trying to find it right now. It looks
Ken
like
Connolly. The 008 again with trouble.
Ken Connolly, yes, in the wall. Did it bring out a yellow? It does not look like it has.
No, he kept that car straight forward, so he has the unfortunate luck of having to bring that thing around under green and try to get it replaced. So, meanwhile, the front of the pack continues on as we watch the replay. We're going to see what happened to Kent here. He was up on the high side. Looks like he might have been 3 wide, just got a little bit of a bump, and he took a good thwack into that outside wall.
Yeah, Brandon Cattell, the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze driver, went there into the middle, 3 wide at the back of the pack. The 008, I'm not sure if he didn't anticipate him to be there, but looks like just drifted down a little bit, got into the door, put it back up in the wall. He's able to hang on to it, but obviously that machine's severely torn up on the right side, and he's losing a lot of speed. Looks like he's going to have to park it.
Oh, meanwhile, back up front, Jabirko completely changed his lanes, and now he's getting a serious push from Dana Osborne. In fact, both of them are fully clear of the leaders. Oh, and Osborne is up in the wall! We've got a car tumbling on its roof. I'm trying to figure out who that is.
Caution flag is going to fly, evidently, as Dana Osborne gets up into the fence there. And,
yeah, that was Chris Jennings rolling on his roof down there on the apron.
Again, man, that 088 machine, the National Guard machine, can't really catch a break here.
Yeah, we're watching the replay of that. As you can see, it was all going great for those guys, and Dana got a little bit loose and then up into the wall and actually riding the wall. Let's see if we can get a camera on... did we say that was Jennings? Yeah, Chris Jennings there. You can see in the 88 who was flying on his roof. He was really the innocent bystander in all of that.
And that's one of the things that happens here in super speedway racing is typically, and as unfortunate as it is, the cars that typically, I don't want to say cause the cautions because it's never intentional, but the cars that initiate the contact that's going to lead to what brings out the yellow flag, whatever wreck ensues from it, those are the cars that typically walk away from it, drive it away without any harm, no foul, and it's the guys that are right behind it that are in the wrong spot, wrong time, and it just happens to be the 2 cars right in front of him that are sideways in the middle of the racetrack are the ones that get the short end of the straw.
And we're watching that short end graphically illustrated as he tumbles around in slow motion there. Go ahead, Sean.
No, I was just going to say, you know, we've said this before, cautions breed cautions, and unfortunately they got a little squirrely on the restart, and, you know, it goes back to the move Cattell made up the middle there. It was kind of dicey, and we got, you know, Connolly in the wall and then up a little farther in front of them. Again, kind of dicing it up a little early here. Hopefully they can calm down and get back into a rhythm again.
I tell you what, Connolly got extremely lucky in all of this that he got that caution on that exact same lap. So he didn't have to go a lap down or anything, I believe. In fact, he's pulling out in front of the pack right now.
Yeah, that's going to be a good break for him. He needed it.
Now, the interesting thing about all this was kicked off when Jabirko completely moved up to the high side after he had been pushing Wofford for at least a lap, I believe it was. And he got a really good push from Osborne, and it looked like everything was going great. Now, I'm a bit confused as to what caused Osborne to get out of sorts like that, because it wasn't they were heading into the corner, but he was the car behind.
Another quick note here, guys. Brandon Jabirko, current race leader, is working with a little bit of front-end damage, and even at a racetrack that's so aero-sensitive, don't really think it's going to cause an issue in that regard, but he's good up front right now in clean air, but again, these things run so hot that even the 7 Wofford with a little bit of front-end damage could increase their engine temps and kind of limit the amount of push that they can give to those guys in front of them, because that's typically what happens if you see some guys get some front-nose damage on those machines.
Well, we are going to go to a very quick break since the lights are still on the pace car. We'll be back in a moment, but we will see you on the other side. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. We are under our second caution of the night here at round 7 of the iSuperSpeedway series. Brandon Shabirko leads the way, followed closely by Rodney Wofford with Tony Fain in 3rd, Greg Hooks in 4th, and Frank Busilia in 5th. Those are our top 5, but it's been a bit of swapping up front despite a very calm start. The cautions did indeed breed cautions. So hopefully that will not be the case and we'll get a chain reaction throughout the course, because we are nearly halfway through this thing, Sean. So these guys were able to go through a 4th. Let's see if they can go through a whole half.
Boy, it would be great if they could. I mean, we started off so well, and, I still think there's a chance for that. I mean, we saw early on these guys, there was a little bit of give and take, a couple close calls, but these guys managed to get the cars in shape. I think we're off to a good finish here. Let's see, guys, as they come around and get ready to take the green flag.
Last time Brandon Shabirko was the pusher. He is going to be the push-E this time as the pace car gets ready to peel off. There he goes. So waiting for that green flag to fall. Now it goes, and they take off around the tri-oval with Shabirko and Wofford leading the way on the front row.
The 7, a little bit slow on the outside, maybe had some trouble getting up through the gears. The 3 of Shabirko pulls a little bit, and now Wofford right back up there. The 88 of Tony Fenn on the bottom working with Shabirko. The 98 of Greg Hooks on the outside working with Wofford. And now that 7 machine of Wofford slides back to about 2nd or 3rd position on the outside at a 2.
Now remember McKeechin, he's sitting there in 6th, and I think it was Sean that mentioned him earlier. No, it was actually Evan. And he is still just kind of hanging back right now, not really on top of anybody. So he is a very patient man at the moment as guys slot themselves into position around NASCAR 3 and 4.
Guys, here at the back, Dennis Wright, the number 54, one of the newcomers here, had a really close call. Almost lost that car all the way to the inside and managed to save it.
Meanwhile, we've got a 3-wide situation here up with, looks like Cody Dutton, Mark Brown down there on the inside of that green and white car, weaving quite a bit, but finally holds it together. Just below him, we see the car of Tom Mustakas just by himself on the low line. He has his choice of where he wants to go and elects to switch up high.
And those guys are able to settle that down, and that was Shane McKeechin, who continues to try to charge his way up through the field. Now up front, guys, the 7 Rodney Wofford nearly cleared Brandon Shabirko on the bottom for that number 1 spot through 3 and 4, the inside lane, because there's more cars, they're more close together. They're able to pull a little bit of ground, and now Wofford had no help as the 98 Greg Hooks as the back. Oh, contact Musili into the 7. Can they hang on this time? No, in front of the field, it's a big wreck.
Oh, and this is the big one, guys. A number of cars. Mustakas is involved in that. And poor Kent Connolly was caught up once again as we watched Rodney Wofford spin to a stop down at the bottom. Cody Dutton was involved. Dan Harrington. Oof, that was a lot of cars.
Wow, who wasn't involved in that wreck? I mean, come on. Yeah, the big one just happened, guys, on lap 21.
Going to watch the replay of that. There was a number of guys involved in that. I'm not sure if we can even get a list together of all of them here. And you can see as that was kicked off here with the number 94 just tipping the number 7, and the number 87 had nowhere to go, and it was just chaos beyond that with anybody behind them just checking up and praying.
Yeah, that's a testament to how hard it is to drive these cars in a big pack like this, because the car that is evidently going to cause that is the 94 of Frank Busilia. He is the championship leader. He has multiple wins on the season, and he just pushed up a little bit. The 7 Rodney Wofford was right there, and they hung on for just a moment, but Wofford ended up getting turned by the 87 right now at the 2nd, and from that point on, again, checking up in front of the field, the 10, the 28, the 87, a handful of cars up and on their roof. I know McKeechin went over at least once. Tough break for all of those guys, but once again, the 94 car that initiated the contact, he's still out on the racetrack with only some minor damage in 4th.
Yeah, going back and watching that as we were on board with Cody Dutton, I did notice that Jimmy Todd had a very heads-up moment, saw it all unfolding and got on the binders, completely braked and managed to avoid everything despite being behind it all.
And, we were talking about Dennis Wright getting out of shape there on the restart, and he almost avoided the trouble because he had fallen back a bit, and Man, Dan Harrington trying to get on the brakes coming across the bottom of the track, and Dennis Wright was practically at a standstill and still got into him and suffered damage as a result of that.
And we're watching on board Cody Dutton once again, seen in slow motion as it unfolds in front of us. Number 7 getting turned around there. Tries to split it up the middle, and not quite good enough as he gets hit from behind, it looks like. And he's got cars almost piling on top of him now. And he is just along for the ride from there as we look at the carnage behind him. And he even slides up into the outside wall for good measure. It's not over yet. Gets hit once again. Now, these guys do have a spare car, I believe. Is that correct, Sean?
Yeah, they've got 2 quick fixes in this series, and Frank Buseglia just took his. Got 2 tires while he was at it. Our points leader did come in for a pit stop and will not get back out in the field. But yes, in this series, they get 2 quick fixes, which means basically you come in, any damage you've got is repaired, you're fresh and clean to start all over again. Use that second one up, and any incidents after that you'll pay for that.
Yeah, so these guys will need to keep that in mind. And it also comes in play, Evan, if, I think it was Brandon Trabirko that had a bit of damage on his front. That can hurt you if you get that damage before your pit stop, and there goes one of your free cars when you didn't mean it.
Yeah, if you take a look right now, Brandon Chaburko, his front end looks like it came right out of the race shop. So he has obviously been to pit road at some point because the little bit of damage that he was working has since been taken away. So you can't pick and choose when you come down pit road and get that fixed. So you can get a little bit of contact, maybe a little bit of a checkup, but as long as you register an X, I believe, at some point, I'm not sure if it has been changed, but at one point, even a 0X would cause you to use a quick fix. I think that has been changed now within iRacing, but it is to the point where if you get a little bit of damage, you can't really choose to skip it. So, you may only get in one accident, but if you came down to get a little bit of sheet metal damage fixed on the right front, you don't have that second quick fix optional. So it's quantity instead of quality of the damage, which is unfortunate, and that can really tie some guys up in some bad situations, especially late in a race.
Now,
Go ahead, Sean.
Joe. One of the beneficiaries of that caution was Dana Osborne, who was up in front of the back markers there and was able to get his lap back and is now sitting in 21st place with a chance to get back up there towards the front. So the number 8 car, who we saw involved in the big one there, in the previous accident, is able to get back in this race.
And as we said, since they have the spare cars, if they are able to wheel it around in time and get that car fixed, then they can be back in this thing. I mean, despite the number of cars involved in that, we're looking at it and we've only got 4 cars that are a lap down or more. So everybody else is on the lead lap, and they could be back into this thing. You just never know in this series. We are on lap 24, so 16 laps to go to try and make something of a bad mess.
Hey guys, something to keep an eye on. Frank Buseglia again, after getting into one of the machines up there at the front of the field to bring out that yellow, he has come down for repairs. He's currently being shown in 13th. Obviously, the scoring's going to have to cycle through, so we'll get a more accurate look at that later on. But again, he enters tonight with a 15-point advantage over Rod Flag. Rod Flag currently sits about 7 spots in front of him on the racetrack. So when we said he had the most comfortable lead that he's had all season long, there's nothing really comfortable at Daytona, especially when we enter tonight with a 24-car field. That's going to put Buseglia guys back there right in the middle of the Hornet's Nest, mid-pack, the place that we've seen the majority of the 3-wide action. So the 94 is not out of the woods yet.
Guys, not really sure what happened, but Rodney Walford pulled off the track and stopped his car. Sat there for a good 20 seconds, I guess, and is now back under power and back up on the track. Maybe he had a problem with his wheel. Something was going on there. As I see him coming down inside the rest of the pack here, he's going to retake his position on the track.
Yeah, 20 seconds would be a very brief call by nature, so I think you're right. It sounds like it might be something more with like his wheel coming unattached from his desk, which we have heard of, and some drivers have actually driven through that before. But I think Wofford lucked out that he is in a series that has caution flags, so he was able to do something if it was, in fact, a hardware issue that he was having there. So as the cars line up 2 by 2 and the lights are off on the pace car, we're going to get back to green flag racing. Let's run through the order real quick, as far down as we can go, just to give you an idea of where everybody is sitting. Brandon Jabirko still in the lead. Tony Fain sits in second. Greg Hooks in third. Donnie Giordano is in fourth. Mark Jorgensen Jr. rounds out the top 5 with Rod Flagg in sixth. Jimmy Todd is in seventh. Larry Camp is in eighth. And Ray Ridenour is in ninth, followed by Ramon Evans in 10th. Evan?
Yeah, Mark Brown's going to be making up the inside of row 6. The 73 machine will restart 11th. Frank Busilia will start 12th. Tom Mustaka is going to take the restart in the unlucky number 13 starting spot. Austin Carver, a new guy here to the iSuperSpeedway, number 16 machine starting in 14th. Dennis Wright, 15th. Shane McEachin, the 28 machine, back to 16th. Rodney Wofford in 17th. John Artman, 18th. Dan Harrington, 19th. And rounding out the top 20 is Dana Osborne.
Meanwhile, in 21st is Brandon Cattell. Then we get into the lapped cars of Kent Connolly in 22nd, Cody Dutton in 23rd, Josh Hanner in 24th, and Chris Jennings in the 008 in 25th and last place. And Chris is actually still out on the track, so I was just checking to make sure that he was actually still trying to run this thing. We are getting ready to go back green flag racing. We had such a good first stint, and now I don't think we've gotten more than 2 laps of green since then. We are on lap 25. We are past the halfway point, and we've got an hour and 2 minutes to get this thing in, so I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to make that at 35 minutes in at this point. Green flag waves. Brandon Jabirko takes off with Tony giving a very good run on the outside, but he doesn't have any push as both the cars in third and fourth finally start to catch up to them, and now they have their lines pushing away.
You down through 1 and 2, the top 3 on the inside and the outside pull away. The 23 of Rod Flagg, he dives down to the inside lane, so now it's only the 88 of Fenn and the 2 of Giratano out on the outside lane down the back straightaway.
And we had a car in the wall. We didn't quite see who that was, though. I'm not sure if we could send Sean back to see if we can figure out who that was, but it did not cause a caution. Sounds like it was the 94, our championship leader, Frank Busilia. And we've got another caution, actually.
Yeah, trouble, guys, towards the back of the pack here, and trying to find the cause of that, but we do go back under the yellow flag conditions and trying to get a number. We're hearing maybe the 82 of Dan Harrington with some issues, and don't see him on the racetrack right now, and it is going to be that 82, and trouble in front of him down the back straightaway. It actually starts with the 7 of Rodney Wofford. The 5 machine of Josh Hanner makes it 3 wide, the 99 on the outside, almost running as if he had no idea they were 3 wide, and those cars all got hooked together, got sideways. The 5 was in the fence, blew the engine. The 99, guys, I'm not sure what the officials' take on that is going to be, but it looks like Don Artman, and I just checked his onboard, and not to speculate, but the 99 car got on the apron, saved it, and then turned the wheel dead right, and hit Rodney Wofford and took Wofford out after the caution had flown.
Yeah, I'd hate to call that when it was just an honest mistake, because that can really get some people riled up, unfortunately. So we'll just have to kind of sit and wonder what that was at this point. Could have just been steering damage, in fact, that could cause something like that. But unfortunately, it did cause more problems behind them as we had watched some of the replay of that there on our screen. Let's go to a quick break, actually, after we watch this replay, potentially here, of that accident again. Looks like we might be watching in slow motion here. Yeah, you can see the 99 come down and start to cause all that unfortunate chaos. Now we're on Josh Hanner as he unfortunately takes out the number 82 up into the wall at that point. Connolly just diving under and hopefully escaping without damage this time, since he's been caught up in a number of accidents. Hanner runs into the number 99 with another bump. So let's take another quick break, and we will come back, hopefully get to the end under green from there. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. We are currently completing lap 29 here in round 7, and it's still Brandon Shabirko up in the lead, leading from much of this, unfortunately, caution-filled second half of this race. And we made it quite a bit with some very good racing, and unfortunately, we just have not been able to get in a single green flag lap of racing since then. Just one reminder, don't forget, if you've got social media, you can contact us through Twitter at GSR Channel during the race and ask us questions. We will try and answer them as best we can, probably during cautions such as this one. So if you're out there in Twitter land or just watching us on YouTube, don't forget to pull up social media and give us your thoughts, give us your questions, and we will try to engage you as best we can. So we are still working our way around, and I believe it looks like the lights are off. Am I not mistaken?
Yes, the lights are off. We are getting ready to go back to green flag racing here. Guys, we're going to have 10 laps to get this thing done. I hate to say it, but it's going to be go time. You know what I mean?
So I'm trying to figure out which one of us said that we were having good racing before that first caution, because I think one of us must have jinxed this race at some point.
Yeah, it was me. It was me. Yeah, it's me.
Look, guys, we have to keep in mind, this is a restart with 10 to go. So at the start of the race, okay, we got a lot of laps to do this. If you think that, we had a couple of cautions mid-race, these guys aren't going to be as nice as they were when we saw those first few. So the action's really going to pick up here. I think it might turn into a little bit of a survival of the fittest up front.
I wouldn't doubt that in the least. We see Greg Hooks is currently now on the outside. He has replaced a number of other drivers that have tried to come up and take that second position. Seems to be only Shabirko at this point who has been able to capitalize that and keep himself up towards the front. So we are getting ready to go green. We can see all the exhaust just spitting out fire as the drivers get ready to accelerate. Pace car peels off. Green flag is out, and we are racing once again as we complete lap 30 and begin lap 31 with 10 to go.
Shabirko's able to pull a car length, guys, down there on the bottom. He has immediate help. The 81 of Art Jorgensen Jr. goes with him. Now the 98 of Greg Hooks is going to find company inside the 88, but the top two on the bottom lane going to get clear. Look at Rod Flagg, second in the championship standings, got a solid run going in third.
Yeah, and this is where he wants everything to stay where it is, to stay clean and not get involved in any of this craziness that you mentioned could erupt even up at the front of the pack. We've seen it unfold a little bit earlier with the big one through the tri-oval. A few guys slipping back. I see the number 88 of Tony Fain not able to do anything. We got a car sideways.
The 87's in the wall.
And another big one, our second of the day.
And Rodney Wofford is not happy because he's going to be caught up in the checkup, but it looks like the first car to be pointed in the wrong direction is the 87 of Ray Rittenauer. The second there tried to come down, and I mean, that 73 car was there, multiple cars. Look at Frank Busilia. If you want to talk about a move that can save the 94 championship, if this thing comes down to a matter of points, watch that 94. That wreck is right in front of him, and he steps out to the outside. Yes, he does get the wall, but he could have very easily ended up on his lid with a blown engine, and that could have been a lot worse for Busilia.
Yeah, I was watching him as that happened, and I thought exactly the same thing, Evan. What a great move. He just made a slight turn of the wheel, and yeah, he slapped the wall, but he's out of the carnage.
Absolutely. We're watching the replay once again. Let's see if we can get on Frank Busilia, who's just a little bit back in that blue car. Just narrowly avoids it. Fantastic, just lightning reflexes. Ray Rittenauer in the 87, though, you mentioned he was the one that kicked it off. Definitely went for quite a wild ride up on other people's hoods for a second. But a number of cars getting caught up in that. We see Rodney Wofford running down pit lane in the number 7 there. He must have had no choice but to head down there after some damage in all that, as we switch to Frank there working his way around. So we almost completed that single green flag lap, guys.
Yeah, and Frank Busilia, he's got pretty good damage on the right side of that car, but the front end looks like it's in good shape. So, and as I'm going around his car, he's got damage to both sides, the left and the right. over the wheel wells. But he's coming in the pits, guys, and it's got another repair. So he's going to get back out there on the lead lap and be in good shape.
Well, 2 down and none to go for Frank.
Oh,
he has got to hold on to that
close
car.
call. Tom
Yeah.
Mustaka, sorry there, nearly spun out of pit road. I tried to get back to the gas, and that 10's got to have a speeding penalty. He was going at least 61 miles an hour before the final cone, and not sure if he was able to. I know sometimes you can accelerate right before the line and be able to get away with it, but looks like Moustakas tried to accelerate to beat Frank Busili off there and nearly spun that 94 car.
We're going to look at the replay of that, I think. Actually, no, we're back on board with Frank. We're going to watch this accident one more time just to see what he saw. And we can see, I believe it was the 88 that was losing speed up in front of him. That caused a few cars to check up, including the number 87 who just drifted down. Look at those reflexes. He actually got some help. He got bumped on the inside. That wasn't just reflexes. That was a bit of luck there, it looks like. He got a check on the side, and that just pushed him out of the way of everything. So, boy, he must have some horseshoes, some rabbit's feet, and a few 4-leaf clovers inside that cockpit.
Yeah, he must, because that's, really close there. But hey, listen, we're going to come back here, green flag here in just a minute or two, and we're going to have, or a couple of minutes here, and guys, we're going to have about 5 laps to the finish of this race. Anything can still happen.
We are currently on board with Wofford, still looking at this accident because there's a lot of different ways that we can observe this thing with how it went down. And he was, looks like, behind the 87, a few cars back, a few cars wobbling around up through the turns 3 and 4. Now it's going to start to unfold in front of him. Sees smoke, just a whole bunch of smoke and not a lot of choice there. Tries to check up and has the 87 coming through our camera, and nothing he can do. Car does not look too damaged from this view. Gets hit by the 99, though, from the side there. But for the most part, it looks like he only got glancing blows. Now, I'm not sure how many hits he's taken at this point, and he just immediately heads on into the pits there to try and get things changed. But Rodney might be out of cars at this point, because I feel like he's been involved in at least one other accident.
He rides around right now with damage. He has not... under this caution flag period, the 7 machine has been to pit road, and I took a look at the replay there, and he sat in for a little bit of repairs and fuel, but did not get that machine back to tip-top shape. So I do believe that's correct there, and the 7 Rodney Wofford has run out of those quick fixes.
Oof, bad day for Rodney, who is currently sitting down in 15th now after that accident. However, our top 5, still Brandon Chabirko doing a good job up at the top. And if I'm not mistaken, he was one of our past race winners in this season. Mark Jorgensen Jr. is in 2nd. Rod Flagg sits in 3rd. Donnie Giartano is in 4th. And Greg Hooks is in 5th.
Sitting in 6th, Jimmy Todd, newcomer to the series, and in 7th, Tony Fain. Number 8. In 8th place, the number 83, Ramon Evans. In 9th, the number 94, our championship leader, Frank Basilia. In 9th. And in 10th place, rounding out the top 10, Tom Moustakas in the number 10.
We've got 6 laps to go here, and we are going to cross the line once again. And I believe the lights should turn off this time by, so we're going to go racing. Yeah, I can see cars lining up 2 by 2 already. So this time we are heading back to green. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last opportunity unless they have an immediate caution on this thing. So either they make it all the way to the green, or whoever is at the front, if the next caution flies, they are going to have this thing in the bag.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, unless we see, a caution almost immediately and the field would cycle through and behind the pace car, you may get a 1-lap shootout at the end of this, but as soon as they complete 1 lap, whoever's up in that number 1 spot, the next flag, is definitely going to end the race if that caution does fly. If we get to the white flag, I know Sean and I, big fans of the green flag finishes here. We've been hoping to see some of them on Friday nights. Once that white flag is out, there's not going to be any yellows. So this whole field could pile him into one big crash there down the back, and it's first man to that checkered flag is going to take it home. So Chaburko, he's ready. He's scrubbing the tires, scuffing them up front. The 3 machine is ready, and Marcus Jorgensen Jr. again is going to make up the outside of that front row.
And don't count out the second place car in the championship, currently sitting in third, the number 23 of Rod Flag. He is going to want to gain as many points as he can on our leader, Frank Busilia, who is down in 9th right now. So if anything does happen up at the front, Frank has had some luck, but I'd be hard-pressed if he was able to avoid another big accident, and he has no spare cars left. So this is going to be it as we come around turn 4, and there is everything to play for here. 15 points separate Busilia and Flag right now in the championship. He's got to get everything he can get here in round 7. Brandon Chubirko is going to lead the way. Pace car is about to peel off. There he goes, waiting for that green flag to fly. We are back to green here at Daytona International Speedway. Brandon Chubirko has everything to play for at this point. It's all or nothing. Can these guys hold out and take it green all the way to the end as they get very close between Jorgensen and Chubirko?
Oh, contact. They're going to door bang down into corners number 1.
Oh, the 83
through
is
2.
turned around. 83 is around. Ramon Evans has been turned around by Tom
caution, it's
Moustakis.
over.
Caution flag is out.
It is over, and they were side by side up front, but I do believe it's going to go, guys, to Brandon Chubirko. Do believe it was that 3 machine with his nose out front at the point of the caution flag. This one is going to end early, and it's going to be caused by the 10 of Tom Moustakis, who we have to say that 10 machine has been very aggressive and either looked to the inside or just got a little bit too left, and got a wiggle, turned the 83 around, a whole lot of cars into the wall. Man, that 7 of Rodney Wofford just can't catch a break. Another incident for him by no fault of his own. The 8 of Dana Osborne in it as well. Multiple cars involved, and that's going to end it once again here under the caution flag.
Yeah, honestly, guys, I think Moustakis tried to make it 3 wide where it shouldn't have been 3 wide.
We are on board with Chris Jennings on the replay, looking at everything unfolding in front of us. And let's see if he makes it through. Oh, just barely. Yes, he does. Takes to the grass. Nice heads up. And actually has to avoid the number 10 once more as he comes back down the track. Boy, Chris Jennings was an absolute ninja on that last accident. Let's see if we're actually heading back to live. I take that back. I was going to say maybe we're going to watch another angle of that one, but we are back to live. So let's see who else was involved in that thing. It looks like, as you mentioned, Rodney Wofford, Ray Rittner had a bit of a bump. Number 33 of Austin Carver, or 16 of Austin Carver, excuse me, got involved. Larry Camp was involved. Looks like Raymond Evans had some trouble there as well. And Dana Osborne, after starting so promising, also was one of the cars that got caught up. Here we go looking at the replay once again, this time on Moustakis, the number 10, sliding across the infield there. So it looks like we are going to go to the end under caution potentially here, as Chubirko does in fact have that lead with Jorgensen in second, and Rod Flag does retain that final podium position.
Yeah, and boy, it looks like there's some hurt feelings here in the chat room as Tom Moustakis had a little bit to say about that incident, and I don't know. Again, I'm gonna say he tried to make it 3 wide, but maybe it shouldn't have been. But you know, we are on the closing laps of the race, and I guess you want to try and get every lap you can in and try and get to the front, but. Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's going to end this way. But, hey, Brandon Chubirko's been fast all night. He's up at the front, and he deserves to be there because he earned it all night.
That's almost a kind of a recovery, guys, for Chubirko. I mean, entering tonight, only 3rd of the championship standings, 18 points back, but he's kind of struggled the last few weeks, and struggling by Chubirko's standards is really not that bad. But the 3 machine has not been up front at the end of it these last few weeks. He's had a couple of issues, things haven't fallen his way. So you can pretty much call that a recovery for the three. Chaburko to get to victory lane. Also, Rod Flag, we talked about him. He'll walk away with a third place finish. He entered tonight's second in the championship standings. So as he sits right now in third, that's about 5 spots in front of Frank Busilia. Now there is still a chance that we would get a one-lap shootout if the lights go off this time by. Not sure and haven't seen any indications from the drivers if that's going to happen. So we'll really just have to kind of wait and see here.
Well, I think by the bit of argy-bargy I've seen up here at the front with Trebico and Jorgensen and Flag, I don't think they're going back to green flag. They're bumping and banging a little bit. Looks like they're all having a little bit of celebratory fun because they're happy to be on the podium.
And remember about, 25 laps in, I said we only had 4 cars that were a lap down or more. Currently we have only the top 12 on the lead lap. So very interesting development. And yes, we are in fact going to finish behind the safety car, unfortunately. So have to say, Tom Moustakas must have been taking some notes from Ayrton Senna there, Sean.
Whoa, okay. Senna reference. All right. Hey, yes, the great Ayrton Senna did say once, hey, if there's a hole, I have to be in it. So, yeah, and I think that's what happened. But you know what? Hey, we got a good start to the race. It didn't play out like we'd like it to, but, you know, I think, again, I don't think you'd get the guys that finished in the top 3 right now to disagree that they're not celebrating.
Sean, you make it so tempting to make a joke that I can't make on air, unfortunately, but we're not going to focus on that. But it looks like, as we said, everyone is just slotted into line. They're going to finish under caution here as guys are kind of jockeying around and having some fun here at the end. And we are going to stick with this until they actually, sounds like we are actually going to go just to potentially a short break here and come back for the checkered flag here. So we've got another lap to go, so might as well step away for just a moment. We'll bring back the checkered flag, and as long as Brandon doesn't run out of fuel or something, he is going to take the win. Welcome back after a multitude of cautions here at Daytona International Speedway. As we come to the line on lap 40, Brandon Chibirko has led the way for the majority of the race, and he is going to take the checkered flag after avoiding trouble and keeping his car up front. So the win goes to Brandon Chibirko in the number 3 here at round 7 at Daytona International Speedway. Number 81, Mark Jorgensen Jr. takes home second as the cars bump in celebration there. And Rod Flag is going to round out the podium, Evan.
Yeah, again, a solid performance for Chibirko and Flag, as those guys knew that they are coming down to the second half of this season. They got to pick it up. They know what's on the line. The championship is within reach, but it was the biggest gap that they had seen all season long, and they were able to capitalize. And also a strong job for Frank Busilia, considering the fact that he was caught up in a couple of late race incidents, entering tonight obviously at the top of the championship standings, able to recover for an 8th place result.
But it is definitely going to be tighter in the championship, with 2nd and 3rd taking home good points hauls today. So I have to ask, before we head to break here, now that we have completed this race, Sean, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Is this, would you chalk this up to the new drivers coming in, or why do you think we had so many cautions today?
Well, I think we could chalk up that last incident to one of the new drivers trying to get used to this series. I think previous to that, I think we just saw what we've seen in the past, a little guys getting a little impatient, making moves that they maybe shouldn't, getting a little loose where they shouldn't. And that's where we ended up with the caution flags. But hey, my hat's off to Shane McEachin, who came all the way from the back, got in trouble, got out of trouble, got back into trouble, and still managed to finish in the top 10. Not the run he was looking for, I'm sure, but 9th place, you got to take it after all the carnage that happened in front of him tonight.
Absolutely. And as Brandon Chibirko in the black number 3 puts some big black zeros on the ground, we're going to go to break, bring you the unofficial results and some interviews, so stick around. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. After round 7 for the iSuperSpeedway series, Brandon Chibirko takes home another win from a caution-riddled race, unfortunately. Mark Jorgensen Jr. took home second. Rod Flagg finished in third, followed by Greg Cooks in fourth. Donnie Giartano finished in fifth, with Tony Fain in sixth, Jimmy Todd in seventh, Frank Busilia, the championship leader, in eighth, Shane McEachin in ninth, and Dennis Wright rounding out the top 10, Evan.
Yeah, moving on down through the field, Rodney Wofford able to come home with an 11th place results. Tom Moustakis, last car on the lead lap, in the number 12 position. Ray Rittenauer the second and 13th. Larry Camp 14th. Chris Jennings able to recover for 15th place result. Raymond Evans, the 83 car rather, comes home 16th. Dana Osborne 17th place finish. Austin Carver, new face here, 18th position. Kent Connolly, the 19th spotter, rounding out the top 20 is going to be Dan Harrington.
Yeah, and 21st, kind of a surprise. Didn't see much out of Brandon Cattell tonight. 21st place, the number 80 of Brandon Cattell. In 22nd, league regular Don Artman. 22nd place tonight in the number 99. Mark Brown in the number 73 finishes 23rd. Cody Dutton, 24th. And rounding out the field, tough night for Josh Hanner, finishing 17 laps down in 25th place.
And speaking of a tough night for Frank Busilia, it was unfortunately a damage limitation night. I was just given the point situation. It is down to 9 points between Frank and now second place, Brandon Chibirko. Rod Flagg has slipped back to third and is 10 points behind the leader, so still making up ground. We do have some interviews to go through. First up, we have Brandon Chibirko, our winner. And Brandon, I have to say, you were kind of sitting probably the best position in that race, way up front, where you're staying out of all the trouble that was unfolding behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. I hate it for some of the guys, like Josh Hanner that was on our team that got caught up in some of the stuff. I've definitely been on both sides of the coin, but can't complain with all the yellows when you're up front, for sure.
You certainly dodged a bullet in one case when you got the nice push from Dana Osborne, and then all of a sudden Dana was the one that kicked it off early in the race. I believe that was around lap 15 or so. What were your thoughts when you finally made it up to the lead and suddenly another caution comes out?
It really sucks. I like to, try and have some green flag racing, but when you're in the lead, you can't complain. But I was definitely nervous whenever Dana hit me on my right rear. I thought I was going to lose it.
Well, you are now down to a scant 9 points between yourself and Frank for the championship. You're sitting in second. Are you going to try and gun for that championship trophy?
Oh, absolutely. Every season.
Excellent stuff. Well, look forward to seeing you at Talladega.
All right, thank you.
After that, we have Rod Flagg, our third place finisher, and he is going to talk to Sean.
Rod, pretty good finish for you there tonight. How you feeling right now?
I sure appreciate the the acknowledgement there. In third, we thought we were going to get second there. Racing with Mark and on that restart and with Brandon, and I think the plan was probably to race. Push Brandon forward and see if we could get to some position there, but unfortunately, another accident happened, and can't complain. We're now third in points, but we had a good finish. Good top 5 finish. I know in this league, last season I think I had 4 top 5 finishes and finished fourth, and now I have 4 top 5 finishes, and I'm sitting here third in points, and we still have several races left, so I think we're going to be well within it there to finish in the top 5 in points, and once these drop weeks start happening here in a few weeks, I think we're going to be sitting pretty.
Yeah, well, again, like you just said, a great points night for you, and you really needed it to stay in contention as tight as things are at the top. What do you think about next week and your chances at Talladega?
Yeah, we won at Talladega earlier this season, and that's a track that got a lot more room and a lot more places to go, and I think that's where our series really makes some things happen. we did some great things this week when we had some folks from Revved Up Racing League came over, and they're a league that I happen to participate on Monday nights, and in a truck league, and they have some really good racers who came over this week. And I don't want anybody thinking that those racers caused anything that would really ruin our racing tonight. They only strengthen our league and make our fields bigger, and I certainly think want those guys really come in here with some great things, and they certainly showed that tonight, that they're respectable and everything. But I think we just couldn't get anything really going tonight. We stayed out of trouble, which I think is what you have to do in these races. And recently, with the way the races have been going, you kind of have to go 1, 2, 3 laps and kind of position yourself, stay out of trouble, dodge those wrecks. And we had a couple real big saves. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that tonight, but our car sure dodged a couple of wrecks, and I think we almost tried to avoid some wrecks earlier that maybe didn't happen, but we tried to avoid those things that happen. So I just want to thank the Super Speedway drivers and iSuperSpeedway folks who keep watching us and keep this thing happening. I mean, it's a work in progress. We've been working on some setups this season, and I just again appreciate it's a good finish tonight, and sure proud of it.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up about the new drivers coming into the league. We were actually talking about that post-race, and I think we all shared your sentiment. I thought they brought a little something to the table, and certainly I don't think we saw anything really that could lay blame at the feet of any of them. It was a good race. That first 10-lap stint, there were some incredible saves, and you were involved in a couple of them. How does that feel when you're sitting in the cockpit there?
Well, I mean, you almost can anticipate it's going to happen, because you see some smoke, you see some things in front of you that you think are going to happen, and especially when I think I was running back 19, 20, 21st, somewhere around there. I knew that your job at that point is really you have to watch what's in front of you and see what's going on, because you want to get up front, but that you just kind of have to run your line, and people are going to get aggressive in front of you, so it's really tough to judge what you need to do at that point. But you really just try to watch what's in front of you, and that's sometimes it's just being on the low line and being able to have a place to go and run in the grass and try to have a place for an evasive action to go. And I was lucky to stay up front and not have to pit after. I took two tires early in the race just to make sure I had some grip when I needed it. But I was able to just continue to avoid the wreck and what's going on, and that's the reason I stayed up front. And but I just sure hope I can get some better racing for you guys, because I know it sure is nice to see us watch do some more green flag racing. So.
Well, hey, Rod, thanks a lot for the race this evening. Great job by you. Congratulations again, and we'll see you next week, buddy.
All right, thanks for all you guys do. Thanks, Sean, Joe, Carlo, Evan. You guys always do a tremendous job. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much from us as well. Up next, we have our 4th place finisher, Greg Hooks. And Greg, we have to say that you duped even us. We didn't really take notice of your run from 16th to 4th until the very end of the race. Do you have an invisibility cloak or something in your driver's side there?
Yeah, I got pretty lucky there at the beginning of the race. We had a couple of big wrecks that happened, and I was just able to hold the wheel straight, and they all just crashed around me. So it was nice being able to walk up there and have a good run tonight.
There was some new drivers out there, and we've been talking about them a bit. What are your thoughts about these newcomers hopping into the league?
I think it was great. I've been saying here recently that we have a lot of competition and a bunch of good drivers in this group, and bringing in the guys from Revved Up just made it even better. We had a 3rd heat, and we had a pretty big A main for the first time this season, so I think it's going to be great competition for the coming weeks.
Well, it certainly proved to make things pretty interesting out there, as we had a lot of action to cover on the track today. But again, congratulations on 4th. That is an incredible job coming from 16th, smack dab in the middle of the field.
Thank you, guys.
Finally, we have our still championship leader, but being hunted down, Frank Busilia, and Evan is going to talk to him.
Yeah, we've caught up with Frank, and exiting tonight's race, Frank, you're able to walk away with a decent result. You get an 8th place finish after being caught up in a late race incident, and just as you got those championship points up, that gap to double digits is going to close back into 9. I mean, how was your race overall? How would you sum it up for you and the crew?
I don't know. I blew up in the heat race, so then it sure didn't start the way we wanted it, and had to run the B main, so started mid-pack, and I screwed up. I got up in the Rodney there and caused huge junk, so I just want to apologize to everybody in that. I just screwed up big time, but there's still plenty of races left. Anything can happen, and we'll just have to take it week by week.
What were some of the changes to your driving that you had to make to accommodate the rule changes? One of those obviously being the no pushing in the corners.
It's just a lot of throttling. I think that's actually when I had to let off in the tri-oval and my car drifted up so slightly, and that's what I'm pretty sure that's what got me in the Rodney a little bit anyway. I knew I was letting off, but you can do that in 1, 2, and 3, and 4. There's enough banking to do that. So it's just letting off and pedaling, trying to get back on them as soon as it's straight so you can get the optimal run down either stretch. But everybody's got to deal with the same thing. So it's just a matter of who does the best at taming it.
And well, congratulations on another solid top 10 finish, and obviously good luck moving forward into these next few races, trying to defend that points lead.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. You'll take care and have a good night.
Joe, that's it down here with Frank Lucilia.
Yep, and it's time for us to wrap up after another round here in the iSuperSpeedway Series. One quick aside, once again, we want to wish the quickest recovery possible to our good friend Richard Losper, who is usually the lead here, and he is just recovering from some surgery, so we wish him the best. Also, thank you to Rod Flagg, the league organizer of iSuperSpeedways. Does a lot to get this thing forward. Also, thanks to iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, and AverMedia, the software and hardware that we use to make these broadcasts possible. Thanks to the team today, Giancarlo, Sean, and Evan. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, along with archived races and race highlights. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel. Thanks goes out to Doug Beard, who creates all the camera sets for the Global Sim Racing Channel. And a special thank you to Eric Ekholm, whose music is not only found here on GSRC, but in TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes, and Spotify. If you like our music, tell Eric where you heard it at ericekholm.com. Additional thanks to Casey Lalonde, who also provides us with the music for our broadcast. You can find more of his music at caseylalonde.bandcamp.com, and I can tell you, he's working on a new album, and it should be out hopefully soon. Our next race is going to be at Talladega. That's Friday, September 5th at 10 p.m. Eastern. So we switch back to Alabama for this series. Our next broadcast, however, is coming up in a couple days. That's VSRA at Daytona, back here, Sunday, August 24th at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, later in that week, the ASRS goes to Mosport for some road course racing. That is Wednesday, August 27th at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then the Northwest Majors head to Darlington for September 1st for the Southern 500. That is 6 p.m. Pacific for that race. And then, of course, Blondie's returns at Circuit of the Americas on Saturday, September 6th at 6 p.m. UTC. Then, of course, don't forget the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series goes to Indianapolis on Saturday, September 6th at 10:30 p.m. UTC. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.